Tonight, before you fall asleep, you're going to check your phone one last time. You won't even think about it. Your thumb already knows the way. But what happens if tomorrow morning every connection on Earth goes dark and stays dark for 30 days? No websites, no apps, no messages. Here's exactly what would happen, hour by hour, day by day. And the scariest part isn't what you think. First, understand what you're actually losing. The internet isn't an app on your phone, it's the invisible nervous system running underneath almost everything you touch. Your bank? Your grocery store's inventory. The traffic lights timed by remote servers. The pumps at the gas station. Roughly 99% of all data crossing between continents travels through about 500 undersea cables lying on the ocean floor. Bundles of glass thinner than a garden hose, carrying the entire modern world. Tomorrow, imagine all of it silent. What breaks first? In the first hour, your phone becomes a very expensive flashlight. You tap your favorite apps one by one, watching each spinning wheel fail. And here's the strange thing. You keep tapping. Researchers studying phone habits have found that the average person checks their device dozens of times a day, mostly without deciding to. That reflex doesn't die with the connection. For the first few hours, all over the world, billions of thumbs keep reaching for something that's no longer there. By hour 6, the invisible failures surface. Card payments start declining because most payment terminals verify every transaction through the network. Ride-hailing cars vanish from streets they were just circling. Food delivery stops mid-order. Office workers get sent home. Not for safety, but because nothing on their screens works. If it feels far-fetched, remember, Canada already lived a one-day preview. In July 2022, a single telecom company, Rogers, went down for about a day, and across the country, debit payments failed. Businesses went cash only, and some people couldn't even reach 911. One company. One day. Now imagine every network. 30 days. By the end of day 1, a quiet divide is opened. And it's the same divide from every crisis. People with cash can still buy things. People without it are locked out. Small shops flip to paper ledgers and handwritten, "I owe us." Neighbors who have never spoken suddenly need each other because information now travels the old way. By mouth, by paper, by knocking on doors. The radio, which you probably haven't touched in years, becomes the most important object in your home. By day 3, the economic bleeding becomes measurable. Economists at Deloitte estimated that a highly connected country loses close to 2% of its daily economic output for every single day the internet is down. Scale that across the planet for a month, and you're talking trillions of dollars. Vanishing not in a crash, but in silence. No online orders, no digital ads, no remote work. Entire industries, streaming, e-commerce, cloud software, simply cease to exist for 30 days. Who survives that pause? Businesses with paper backups, local customers, and cash drawers? Who doesn't? Almost everyone built purely online. And we know what a national shutdown looks like because governments have already flipped the switch on purpose. In January 2011, Egypt cut its own internet for 5 days during nationwide protests. Researchers documented what happened next. Commerce stalled, families couldn't reach each other, and the OECD estimated the blackout cost the economy around $90 million in less than a week in a country far less connected than yours. And in Indian-administered Kashmir, authorities imposed the longest internet shutdown ever recorded in a democracy. Restrictions that stretched over 500 days. Students couldn't study. Doctors couldn't access records. An entire region learned to live offline, not by choice. By the end of week 1, something unexpected happens inside your own head. The panic starts to fade, and underneath it, people report something almost embarrassing: relief. Psychologists who study digital habits keep finding the same pattern. In one widely cited experiment, researcher Adrian Ward and colleagues showed that the mere presence of your smartphone on the desk, switched off, face down, measurably drains your ability to focus. They called it brain drain. Now the drain is gone. People sleep longer because there's nothing to scroll at midnight. Attention spans stretch back out like a muscle finally allowed to rest. You finish a book? When was the last time you did that? But don't romanticize it because week 2 is when the real damage compounds. Hospitals can still treat you, medicine doesn't stop, but everything slows dangerously. Digital patient records are unreachable, lab results move by courier, and pharmacies can't verify prescriptions across systems. Supply chains, which run on constant machine-to-machine chatter, begin to misfire. Store shelves develop strange gaps. Plenty of one thing, none of another, because no algorithm is matching supply to demand anymore. Ports back up. Trucks wait. The world doesn't starve in 30 days, but it gets noticeably emptier, slower, and more expensive by the week. By day 20, the money problem becomes the government problem. Payroll systems are digital. Tax systems are digital. Benefit payments are digital. Governments dust off emergency procedures from the paper era, printing checks and opening physical counters, and long lines return like a scene from another century. Meanwhile, a black market for connection appears wherever any signal survives. Satellite phones, ham radios, private networks, because scarce access is worth a fortune. Information itself becomes currency, and here's the twist nobody sees coming. The internet's absence doesn't just break machines. It breaks the way you know what's true. For 30 days, there is no fact check, no live update, no way to verify anything beyond your own eyes and your neighbor's word. Rumors travel at the speed of fear. A whole generation discovers what their grandparents always knew, that trust is local, and that a community that talks face-to-face is more resilient than a feed. Some towns organize brilliantly: bulletin boards, meal networks, volunteer patrols. Others fracture. The difference isn't wealth, it's whether people knew each other before the lights went out. Is any of this actually possible? More possible than you'd like. In January 2022, a volcanic eruption severed the single undersea cable connecting the island nation of Tonga, and the country was largely cut off for about 5 weeks. A real, documented, month-long internet blackout in the 21st century. Scientists also warn about solar storms. In 1859, the Carrington event set telegraph wires sparking around the world, and researchers modeling a storm that size today conclude it could damage the power and communication infrastructure the internet rides on, with recovery measured in weeks, not hours. The 30-day blackout isn't science fiction. For one country, it already happened. So what does day 30 look like? The cables hum back to life. Notifications detonate on 1 billion phones at once. A month of messages, emails, alerts, and automatic payments hitting in a single avalanche. The backlog takes weeks to clear. Markets convulse, then stabilize. And then the strangest part? Within days, almost everyone snaps back to exactly how they lived before, as if nothing happened. Almost everyone. Because some people come out of the dark month changed. They keep the Sunday phone-free habit. They keep the cash in the drawer, the radio on the shelf, the paper list of phone numbers that used to live only in the cloud. They learned the lesson the blackout was teaching all along. The internet was never the problem. Depending on it with no backup was. So tonight, before you fall asleep, you'll check your phone one last time. Your thumb already knows the way, but now you know exactly what's on the other side of that glowing screen. A single, fragile thread holding up your entire world. And the strongest thing you can do isn't to fear the day it snaps. It's to make sure you'd be okay if it did.